All right, is the microphone working? No, it's not. Ooh, more joys. Okay. Microphone, would you please work? Would technology stop being a jerk? Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please. Technology, you're paining my knees. All right, I don't know why the microphone's not working. All right. It looks like I can't tell. Hi, Kaylee, can you hear me? Hi, Brant. La 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 la. Yay, someone can hear me. Oh, thank goodness. I thought it was going to be another one of those days, guys, and I was going to be like, I'm not into it. Hi, everybody. Oh, it's so nice to see you guys. I feel like I know you a little bit. And now that we did that flip grid, I replied to everybody unless you did it in the last few days. Here's the link to what you're going to see on my TV. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Yay. Hello, my friends. All right, I'm going to start right now because it's noon. All right, people can catch up with us. So this is the link where you are going to find everything that I'm talking about today. So you could find that link if you need to see it again. It is tinyurl.com/Rogers. That's my last name with the D and the G. WW4. And I put it in the chat. So feel free to check it out. This slide was made by Slides Mania. They're amazing. And also when you open this, there is a link for Flipgrid so that you can go there with your questions. Yes, Slide Mania. How'd you know, Maria? You in the know. That's what I'm all about. So check out the Flipgrid. And of course, my dogs are going to lose their minds right now. It's all right, guys. Yeah. Other people live in the neighborhood. It's normal. Hey, Vader, come on. That's enough. Buddy, get over here. Ridiculous. There's probably a cat. All right. One moment. Vader. Hey, get over here. Hey, that's enough. Thank you very much. You should have to apologize. Hey, excuse me, sir. No, Vader, over there, please. Over there, please. My dog humbly apologizes for ruining things. So this is where you can check out each other's ideas. I love it because it was so nice to talk to you through Flipgrid. So what we're going to talk about today is the instructional cycle, how to study standards, and lesson creation, kind of the nuts and the bolts of lesson design. So before we begin, when I talk about the instructional cycle, I'm right now going to stop and do a check for understanding. Now, obviously, I can't see you, so there's no fist to 5 in this situation. Is everyone okay? Okay. Because there's no fist to 5, I can't see you. Please use your text feature. Type in the chatty bar. How comfortable are you with the instructional cycle from beginning to end? Oh, we're moving to Zoom? Hold on. Are we moving to Zoom? Good. Lots and lots of different. Good. Okay, perfect. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, phew, sorry about that. I thought it was, anyways. So we have a lot of different answers. And this, that fist to five is one of those quick check for understandings you can do. The human brain gets bored after like 2 minutes. So this is something I have created, but I've created it from all of the understanding and experience and research and experience. It's super basic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another check for understanding with you, that something I like to call the, oh, I know why, which is you're going to type one thing that makes sense to you. I'm not going to say anything about this image. Just go ahead and type, oh, I know why. One thing that makes sense to you, like maybe it's why there are different colors, why there's the three that there are. Like just type in one idea that when you look at this, some part of it makes sense. Now, what I'm asking you to do right now is actually access your mental schema. So those of you who felt really successful at lesson design, you're actually opening up that mental box right now by asking you to access those questions. So it's one thing that makes sense. I'll wait for about 3 or 4 answers. Pink equals female teacher. Yes, that could be it. I like to use, yeah, that's true. And that's like that hidden curriculum I'm going to talk about a bit. 3 elements. Okay, yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you, Kaylee, for noticing. It's a cycle because it never ends. Because once they've demonstrated mastery in one skill, you're now going to take that data and figure out the best way to front load the next skill that they're going to learn. Ooh, yes, Edith talks about the beginning, middle, and end of a lesson. But, you know, sometimes we think that this has to be equal size. Even though these colors are equal size, please don't please don't think that these are the same amount of time. Sometimes this is teeny and this is huge. So that was an, oh, I know why. Now I'm going to ask you, excuse me, please clarify. When you're looking at this image that is just the brainchild of my brain and Canva, and this actually right here is Lexend. I'm going to type that in for you. Lexend, I'll talk about Lexend in a second. Let me come back to Lexend, but let me stay right here with, excuse me, please clarify. What are some questions you have looking at this image? What are some questions that a teacher might ask looking at these images? Now, you notice that I said a teacher might ask. You can do that with students. What's a question a second grader might have? What's a question that a student might have? That takes the emotion out of it so that they can access their prefrontal cortex so they can answer the question. Oh, Shelby, I love that. So now what are some questions that you might have? And it's okay if you don't have any. Just let someone write a couple and we will move on. And this activity right here, asking you, oh, I know why. I'm asking you to make predictions. I'm asking you to access your previous learning, your previous knowledge. And then the excuse me, please clarify. That part is asking you to self-monitor your learning. Do you know what's a question that you could have? All right, I'm going to type in Lexend and then remind me to come back to it later. I'm going to drink some water and give people time. All righty. I don't know if my chat quit or we're all just kind of like, we don't know. It's the end of the day. I don't blame you. So some questions somebody might have is, Do they have to be all the same time because they are represented as equal pieces here? No. Some questions might be, what do you mean by videos? Well, you can use videos as instruction. The beauty of this is if you get really good at right-clicking at the right time, you can actually have a video running and have it pause at a specific part that the kids can do re-instruction with. Thanks, Sierra. It's just the culmination of every instructional idea in the world. Ooh, Matt asked me what a hyperdoc is. Matt, I'm going to put a pin on that and come back to it. So when you, I don't know where I made that slide. There we go. So when we're talking about instruction, here are some questions that you need to ask before you start building your lesson. What are we going to learn? So like today I told you we're going to learn about these 3 different things. Your students you need to ask yourself, how are we going to learn it? How are we going to practice it? It being whatever the target skill is. And how will I show that I know it? That actually should be down here. See how I separated these? Because this should be a question the students ask themselves. That's why I use the pronoun I. So when you're thinking about your lesson, yes, I'll talk to you about hyperdocs. I'm going to put a pin in that. So we're talking about how to build lesson. Ask yourself, what's the skill? And then these questions will guide you through the lesson series that you're going to create or the lesson you're going to create. These are important questions for students to be able to answer. And you want to have a procedure for teaching. How do they know how to show? You need to have a procedure for them showing it and how they show it. There's a lot of procedural stuff in here that you will apply lesson to lesson to lesson to lesson. So these are the questions you want to ask yourself, and these are the questions you want the students to be able to answer when you're thinking about instruction. And always go to that check for understanding, because this is going to tell you what you know and what you don't know. Sometimes the kids will just smile at you beautifully and they'll be like, oh, we totally get it. And you're like, yeah, I can tell you get it. And then you give them the assignment and they're like, we don't get it. So the next section of that circle is the practice. And this is important because it talks about the difference between, in my opinion, targeted skills and hidden skills. For example, a targeted skill is ask and answer questions who and what and who and where about characters and settings. That's a targeted skill. However, there might be some hidden skills. If I'm going to have them practice answering those questions, they're going to be writing those questions down. That could be right here. That's a hidden skill. Handwriting might be a hidden skill. Social skills might be a hidden skill. Teaching is very much like playing like Star Wars, Klingon, Star Trek chess. Like it is multi-leveled and all the time. So when you're teaching these targeted skills, it's easy to get stuck in this when you're writing your lesson objectives. But just think to yourself about these hidden skills. Even if that skill is, how do I walk across the room and get a pencil that I need? You want them to be able to know that, why is this practice going to help me demonstrate what I know? How is this practice going to help me show the teacher and my classmates what I know? And then these are really important. What if I don't get it? Too many times, if we don't have a if-then plan, there's a secret message right there that we don't expect them not to get it. If we don't have a plan in place for them not getting it, then it's almost like we're like, well, I didn't plan for that contingency because I didn't expect you not to get it. And that's a little unfair in my personal opinion. Okay, I'm just going to let chat go. So you want to have a contingency plan. It teaches them, number one, if-then planning, which actually has a really fancy name. It's called coping plan. And it's the idea of training your brain to think ahead of what might go wrong. And then you can It lessens the mental resistance and the anxiety of when things do go wrong. And then how do I know if I don't get it? How am I as a student aware during the lesson that I have no idea what's going on, or during my practice time that I have no idea what's going on? And then how do I celebrate mistakes? If we're going to stand in front of children and say that failure is awesome, we need to prove that it's awesome. We think money is awesome, and we demonstrate that all the time. They think clout and social media is awesome, and they demonstrate that all the time. So if we think mistakes are awesome, we need to celebrate it. But be very careful. Let me tell you a story. I used to, every time I made a mistake or the kids made a mistake in fourth grade, we used to say, "Congratulations, you made a mistake." Well, one day that was not what I wanted to hear, and I got flustered and annoyed. And I told them, because it was like mistake after mistake. So it was like I drew the wrong number and I'm trying to get them into this lesson flow, and they're just going, "Congratulations." So just be aware, they will follow those procedures. Kids. So what we do in second grade is, if somebody like has an outburst or they mistaken behavior, we don't make a big deal out of it. Or if they answer the wrong answer, we just go whoops-a-doodle, kiss your noodle, and we all just go mwah, and we all kiss our brains, because we all make mistakes, and everybody's mistakes makes the whole class better. So again, do yourself a favor, right off to the side right now, check for understanding, and look for ways to check for understanding that make sense to you, because I'm a crazy physical human, okay? Checking for understanding for me, I might be okay with everybody. Stand on your desk if you totally get it. Sit on your chair if you're not sure, and sit on the floor if you know that you need help. Like those kinds of things. So I'm really physical, because I'm always thinking about, I think about that PD. You know the PD I'm talking about. The PD that goes on forever, and your butt is numb and you're exhausted, and it's after lunch, and all you want to do is like try to go home and like make sense of all the stuff you've just learned. Kids get that way too. So when I'm building these check for understandings, not only tell me who is where, but it gives students the opportunity to get up and move, or to say a sentence frame so they can get some words out. And then final piece is assessment. Now, of course, I say final piece, but just like the lunar cycle, just like the seasons, there really is no beginning or end. So assessment is, how will I show I know it? So teacher, tell me, how am I going to be able to show you that I understand this content? So what are some ways that kids can show? What are some ways that kids can show what they know? One way would be a presentation. What would be another way? Yes, SES. I don't know what SES is, Jake Goodman. Yes. All right, I think we have a young man. Hey, dude, you got better things to do than bug people. Bye. Oh, how do you make him go away? Ugh. Yes, hands-on project. That's an excellent option. Let me try to put user in timeout. You're in timeout. Go away. I think we did it. Okay. If not, let's just completely ignore him. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know exactly how to modulate. How do I do this? Okay, participations. Somebody Goodman. How do I make him go away? All right, well, anyways, going back to it. Yes, book reports. Thank you, Anel. Oh, Matt, stop it. I mean, famous? I don't know. There's lots of ways the kids can do it. I mean, you just played with the Flipgrid, so you see how a kid could give you a full-on presentation. They could even use props. So when you're thinking about the assessment, remember what targeted skill are you actually assessing? That means if you're assessing a kid's knowledge on nouns versus verbs, does it matter if they write it or if they say it? So being able to see ahead to the obstacles that might be in your student's way. Oh, someone's going to take care of you. We need a YouTube monitor. I don't know what that means. You guys, let's treat this like we would a kid in our classroom and just completely ignore that human, okay? Let's just pretend that they are not even here. So as you're doing these assessments and you're talking about targeted skills, try to think about maybe what kind of modifications you can make. Okay, I had a kid with a lot of test anxiety. That's genuine. I was able to wean that person from oral assessments to written assessments eventually. I know, David, but we're going to pretend that this is school and we're just going to ignore the person because that's what we do. We ignore behaviors we don't want to see. And that might mean that we close chat for right now. So always thinking about that check for understanding, and you can do it in fun ways. So now I'm going to give you my favorite tip, which is the power of the rubric. Now, people do rubrics in different ways. Here's how I do them. This is kind of a stacked. I really could make it vertical because if you turn in an assignment, you get 1 point. It does not matter what that assignment is. It does not matter what the assignment looks like, what the kid had to do, just boom, turned in an assignment, you get a point. Now, if you turn in an assignment and you clearly put some effort into it, that's a 2. Now, if all these things are true and you demonstrated some understanding of the topic, no matter what the topic is, then boom, you have a 3. Now, if all of these things are true and you show mastery, that's a 4. And if there's evidence that you practiced or that there were multiple drafts instead of just, a one-time effort, then that's a 5. Making rubrics like this is super powerful because what we get to do is I actually did a huge project when I taught 5th grade, and it was a state report. And every sentence had a point and every paragraph had a rubric. It was a lot of work to set up, but here was the beauty. When this happened, when and if a parent came to me dissatisfied about the work, the grade that the student got because they probably saw the kid work really hard for 3 days, even though the project was going on for 3 weeks. So they don't understand, why didn't this work? So then you can sit the parent down, give them the rubric and the assignment and a pen and say, you know what? Absolutely. I'm open to co-grading. Feel free to go through this rubric. Feel free to go through the assignment. If you find points, just circle them and let me know and I will change my grade book. It's a much easier way to do that. All right, so that's what I love about rubrics. Makes it really clear, and then the students are involved in this conversation. We rise above it all, my friends. So I just kind of threw a lot of information at you about lesson design, but it's let's get to the guts of what do we teach. I'm going to share with you my actual real life. I have them right here in my hands, kind of things that I do. So I'm new to 2nd grade. This last year, I was just kind of barely surviving. Thank goodness for my team. They uplifted me. They made me feel like I wasn't failing and falling on my face. And so this year, I feel really is my first kind of aware of stuff a little bit more. And so what I did is I looked at the standards and I just kind of took some notes about the categories. And then from there, I actually wrote down the standards in this color-coded system. So pink is key ideas and details. And so the reason why these are so important to understand is because this is where my confidence comes from when I'm building a lesson. I know I'm meeting these standards because I know these standards. You don't have to write them out like this. You can do it any way you want, but I really do strongly suggest you spending time with your standards beyond surface understanding. So there's unpacking standards. Can you give me a 1 to 5 or a 0 to 5? How comfortable are you with this skill of unpacking standards? Now, I had to sit through I think a 4-hour training for what I'm going to tell you about in 30 seconds. This is a piece of information that I sat through a lot to get. All right, we're probably not chatting, are we? All right, I'm going to skip on ahead, my friends. So the standards, if you break them down, this is the easiest way to do it. You're going to assign a color to the noun, a color to the skill, a color to the task. Okay, and that is, verbs are skills, nouns is the concept, and prepositions for, as, not, but, etc. Usually represent the task or the context. So here's the very first standard in my grade. Ask and answer such questions as who, what, where, why, when, and how to demonstrate and how to demonstrate understanding of key details in a text. So the first thing I like to do is I like to go through and highlight all of the nouns. This to me is this cements it. What am my lesson going to be about? It's going to be about questions. It's going to be about understanding. It's going to be about key details, and it's going to be about text. Now, that's not one lesson. That is just an idea of this is what this whole standard is asking you for. You might touch this standard every day. You might touch it every hour. Then I like to highlight the verbs because those are the skills that we are asking the students to master. Do they know how to ask questions? And I'm going to be real with you. I don't know if I ever sat down with a second grader and said, here's some information, and what information do you want to know? And then help them formulate and empower the questions. I don't think I ever did that. So that was going through this process for me was really valuable. So ask and answer questions. That's basically what we're asking them to do. But there's tasks, there's specific context within. What kind of questions? Who questions? What questions? Where questions? Why questions? And how questions? So being able to do this helps me understand really what is the standard asking the student to do. So as I'm looking at this, what would I tell the kids? What are we going to learn? I don't know if you can type anymore or just say it to yourself or draw it, or say it to me through the screen and I'll hear you. What are we going to learn today? And that totally depends on where we are in the standard. If I'm just beginning this standard, my lesson really should be, today we're going to learn about questions and how they're different than sentences. I might say, in society, we like to ask and answer questions these ways, etc., etc. So once again, as I'm doing this, how are they going to learn it? Are you going to do a puppet show? Are you going to do an instructional video? Are you going to do direct instruction? Ain't nothing wrong with direct instruction. Okay, how are you going to teach it? What will be your procedural steps? And how will they engage with it? And how will you know where they are at every step? If we didn't have our creepy situation, y'all would be telling me in the side the stuff that's going down. So then the kids have to understand, what if they don't get it? And what do they do if they don't get it? So it's when you teach it this way we're going to be learning about questions. What don't you get? Do you not understand how questions are different than sentences? Okay. What don't you get? Are you nervous about the asking, or is it the answer part that doesn't seem to make sense to you? So you can really get specific when you're planning your instruction around the standards. How are they going to practice it? Are they going to write things down in their journals? Are they going to have just straight paper? Are they going to write when they practice this? Are they going to read when they practice this? Are they going to so how are they going to practice it? How are they going to interact with it in a way where they practice, they fail, they learn, and life goes on? And then remember the difference between those targeted skills and the hidden skills. The targeted skills, I'm asking about how to ask and answer questions. Some hidden skills. How do we sit on a rug? How do we ask a question? What do we do if someone interrupts our question? How do we handle feelings when they come up? These kinds of things. So the students should be able to answer questions like, how will what I'm doing right now, how will that help me show you, teacher, that I know how to ask and answer questions? And what if I don't understand the asking part? Or what if I don't understand the answer part? What if I don't get it? And again, how do we celebrate those mistakes? How do we say, you know what? Before we began this lesson, some of you couldn't explain what the difference between a question and a sentence is. Who can do it now? And everybody's hands go up and you use a random stick and you can even have them say things like, this is so powerful. I wish I would have done it more now that I'm remembering it. I used to believe, but then. I used to believe, but then. That works for everything. That works for if you made an error in math. I used to believe that you put the 1 in the ones column when you did 10. Now I know you move it up to the next place value. That kind of stuff. I can't tell if anybody's here. Hi, guys. So then finally is the assessment piece. How will they show that they know how to ask questions? How will they show that they know how to answer questions? Not only just any old questions, but these specific questions. And what's super powerful about these questions exactly is this is character, this is condition, setting, conflict, resolution kind of situation. Not always, it's not perfect, I know, but this is connected to the way that things work. Yes, and if you have to teach the entire standard, let's say you're like, okay, I have not done this standard and it is the end of the school year, I need to make sure that they get this. You can come up with ask and answer games. Mother, may I? You can come up with, if you have to address the whole standard. So let's pretend I have to address the whole standard. All right. Boys and girls, today we're going to learn about how to ask and answer questions, but not just any questions, these questions. And I would have a gesture, and the kids would say who, what, when, where, hi, why, and how. So then after they do the gesture, we'd probably do a clap or something like that because that would bring them right here. And then that is the beginning of that answer, or of that lesson. Then I would go into, today you're going to show me that you know how to answer these questions because I'm going to give you a picture. I'm going to give you an image, okay? And that could be a digital image. It can be anything. I'm going to give you an image, and you're going to write questions about who is in the picture that someone could answer by looking at the picture. You're going to ask a question, a what question, that someone can answer by looking at the picture. Now, what I just had them do is by them creating these questions, for them to know what the right answer is, that's them demonstrating. That's how I know they know, because they can't create a who question without a who answer. See that, how that worked? So now they are now in a group having conversations about what how question they should choose with these images. And like, so there's a picture of a baby and a bottle and, the food on the ground. One of the how questions can be is how did the food get on the ground, etc., because they know the answers. So I've introduced it. I've told them what we're going to do. I've told them how we're going to practice it. I've told them how they're going to demonstrate that they understand the key details, not in a text. I realize, wait 1 minute, I'll get there, but just the key details in an image. When you want to scaffold at all, take the word text, replace it with the word image. That can be round one of instruction. Okay. Then the next step would be to then use use a paragraph of informational text that they're very familiar with. Okay, something you want to read with them a couple of times. You want to have conversations that sound like, after you read a sentence, what kind of who question could you think of that could be answered by this sentence? So once you have them going into the text, that's the whole standard right there. They are creating, asking and answering questions. Then, of course, guys, here's the magic. They have images and they have questions, right? And then on the other side, you'd have the text and the questions. Now what you have is you have instructional tools. Now everybody switches, they flip it over, and now they answer the questions that their classmates just wrote. Then who grades it? Not me, because I don't know the right answers, the authors of the answers. So that's one way that in one setting, you can meet all of these. Another way you can do that is you can create an edu protocol centered around summarizing. And what that means is, pardon me. So that was how you could do that in one standard. Another way you could do it for upper grades is you could put up a fable or a story, because central theme in determining the moral is a band that goes across a lot of grade levels. So if you just put up a story like The Fox and the Sour Grapes, and then there was there was a graphic organizer that's the same every time, that they could answer these questions of. So that's a way you can make it procedural, you can make it short, and you can make it a lesson. One of my favorite summarizing lessons is the Little Miss Muffet summarizing method. I'm looking for a pen, and of course I'm not going to find one. You take a piece of paper and you fold it in half, and then you fold it into thirds, and you should have 6 little boxes. Okay, and it goes like this. Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, eating her curds and whey. No, that was right. Along came a spider who sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. Little Miss Muffet character sat on her tuffet setting, eating her curds and whey. Summarizing. Along came a spider, problem, who sat down beside her, conflict, and frightened Miss Muffet away, resolution. So we used to Muffet it. So we would read a story or we'd read a chapter and we'd be like, all right, let's Muffet this. And they would tell the who, etc. So that's one way that you can use it as a deeper assignment, and one way that you could use it as a quickie assignment. All right. Oh, and that was it, my friends. So now I'm going to step away from my computer, and I'm going to go over here to our little Q&A session and answer all of your questions. I think it's safe to chat again. It amazes me the things that people find the time to do. Oh no, did my volume just go out? Oh, thank you, Kaylee, for blocking him. All right, since I can't really see live, I'm going to go ahead and go up here and hope that I'm not just like making a big fat error. Oh, I see. Oh, yay, Matt. I hope you got the code for Flipgrid. It's actually in that link right there. That's the link to the to the digital presentation. Oh, Hyperdox and Lexend. All right, I'm just going to pretend that people are here. Okay, so Lexend. When we teach kids how to understand the world around them, there are some things that are a little inconsistent in the kiddo brain. Oopsie, did I just do that wrong? Hold on, 1 second. This is going to be cool when I show you. And then I want to do the exact opposite right here. Okay, so we teach kids, this is a pen, this is, woo! We teach kids, this is a pen, this is a pen, this is a pen, this is a pen. But then we teach them, this is a P, and this is a Q, and this is a B, and this is a D. So there's that happening. And then some fonts, you can see A's that look like this. You see A's that they just have a wide variety of what an A can look like. And so what Lexend does is it's done with research. It's found out the best formation of the letter in the font that will destroy all of this cognitive noise. So they won't have to waste their cognitive energy looking at that letter and saying, is that an A or is it a G? Because G's are ones that are like, I mean, for heaven's sakes. Since when is that a G, my friends? That's not how we teach G's. So what Lexend is, it's a font. I'm going to go ahead and type it out. And you can get it on everything Google, and you can get it on Canva. And it's just one of those things that if you just take away that cognitive noise, makes a little bit more sense. All right, my friends, we are just under 45 minutes. I'm kind of into that. And I don't see a lot going on in the chat. So I will be on Flipgrid a little bit later on, but it is date night, so I'm not going to make any promises. Promises. I'm waiting for like Annelle to text me and be like, stop it, you crazy lady. All right, my friends, I'm on Flipgrid. If you need me, you can email me, Mrs. Jenna Rogers at gmail.com. This week is pretty much over, though, for me. I'm going to spend Father's Day with my dad, and I won't be back until probably right before the next one of these, my friend. So week 5, wow. So since I'm not really seeing what's going on in the chat, I would like you to let me know or Annelle know if you didn't have to take this. I mean, if you didn't have to sit here and listen to me go on and on and on and on, because I'm the one choosing the topics, what would be the topics that you would want to choose? Which of you are up for a work group? I love a work group. Someone here teaches 2nd grade, and like you saw with my index cards, I'm literally writing my standards right now. I'd love a little work group. So if anything like that is interesting to you, please let me know. If you have any specific questions about any kind of tool or anything like that, please let me know. And remember to take care of yourselves and drink water. All right, my friends, I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.